So I'm finally going live, even though I set this up a couple hours ago. As you can hear, my asthma is real bad today, so this is going to be a very short stream. Jamie, no, I'm not all right today. It's my asthma. It's just going nuts again. So this is what it is. I'm sitting here with you can't see it because the lights. This little book was given to me by it's just a little blank page journal type book. This was given to me years ago by my friend I was talking about that waited too long to go to any kind of help for her headaches and discovered, hey, T King, thank you. Discovered that she had cancer and she only had 2 weeks to live when she finally went to the doctor. She gave me this little book years and years ago, and I've never used it. One of the things that I've done since I got here was I started writing down quotes, all kinds of quotes. I wrote a bunch of things that I'd learned about narcissism when I was dealing with some family members. There was that. And there's all kinds of things I've written in here. Let me read you a couple interesting quotes before I apologize to Ren. By Sherman Alexie. I don't know if that's how you pronounce Lexi. He wrote the book Tonto and the Lone Ranger, Fist Fight in Heaven. They made a movie of the book. It's called Smoke Signals. Excellent, excellent film, excellent book. I like these quotes. I don't want my hair to get in my eyes as I'm kicking your ass. It's talking about braids, which always makes me laugh. Hey, Plays. Hey, Angel. So I like his quotes. I've written those down. I have some other ones in here. I actually have a couple of from James Comey, Virginia Woolf, Daniel Monahan. This James Comey quote always strikes me when I'm thinking about YouTube and some of the YouTube, hey, bless Chris, interactions. It says, to accuse someone of lying requires proof of both falsity and intentionality. And that's certainly true about lying. There's a Dalai Lama quote, a bunch of other things, Abraham Lincoln, Queen Elizabeth. I love Queen Elizabeth's quote, grief is the price we pay for love. A lot of truth to that. And this morning, well, not this morning, I added this quote recently by Todd Chrisley. If the shoe fits, put that bitch on and walk. So there's that. Hey, Ginger Lee. But this morning I ran across the Rene Descartes quote. And I can't say that name without thinking of, Monty Python and the Drunken Philosophers song. If you don't know what that is, look it up on YouTube. It is hysterical. And if you ever took a philosophy course, you'll recognize all the names and start busting out laughing because it's so true on so many levels. If you would be first a real seeker after the truth, it is necessary that at least once in your life you doubt, as far as possible, all things. So that's the quote I'm starting with today, my discussion. Last week, I said some rude things about Roadhog. Now, I'm not backing up on what I've said about him. He's not my favorite creator. Hey, Jen, I would go to all lengths to protect his right to say what he has to say. I believe in free speech. Just because I don't always agree with another creator's words does not mean I hate the creator or I don't back them up. I do. And I really like his wife, Mrs. Roadhog. I was told after my stream that Ren had Real Entertainment News had said some really, really super nasty things to his wife. And his wife sent me the clip, and I listened to it. And I was horrified. And then I made a stream, and I said, Ren, that's bad. And I said I was going to talk to him. I never got around to it because I've been quite sick. Here's the thing about that quote and the quote by many other people. And I've noticed this in our community. This is something we need to stop doing. Once I saw the setting of where that quote occurred, because I don't watch everybody's stream because I just don't have time. There are only so many hours in the day. Once I saw that Roadhog had gone into Real Entertainment News, Ren, Kareem, whatever you want to call him, had gone into his stream and baited him and said all sorts of nasty things. And then Ren said that, not that two wrongs make a right. Oh, hell no. But it's understandable. So, Ren, I owe you a huge apology. I went after you for no reason. I like Ren. I don't always watch his videos, but there's just something that I really like about the guy. He's got a good heart. I know not everybody agrees with me. That's fine too. We don't all have to agree. Aaron did a stream last night that I thought about a few times since I heard it last night and again this morning, where she was talking about the Roadhog and Real Entertainment News head knockings. And I'm lining up with her on this. I defend their right to the death to say what they have to say. I don't necessarily have to agree with them. I don't have to like their style. I don't like to have what they're doing. But they have every right to shout those things out. America has the First Amendment. So there's that. It was a brutal stream. It seems like it plays in the rains. I just saw a little bit of it. I was just in the other room a few minutes ago because I started to set this up much earlier in the day and we were having internet problems. So I just let it sit. I didn't even put a time on it. I went in the other room and I was quilting and watching HBO because HBO Latin America had one of my all-time favorite movies, Pride and Prejudice, starring Keira Knightley. And I watched the last 30 minutes or so of that movie with just tears streaming down my face. One of the things I know about myself is I don't do well when there's that kind of shouting and screaming and carrying on. I don't do well with people that carry on and yell. I just don't. I shut down because of previous abuse, mostly spiritual abuse. I just shut down. I turn back into a small child again. The amount of drama between us around these two men is just cringy and ridiculous. They both bring it on themselves. Exactly, Bliss. They do. They bring it on themselves. And that's really tragic that they're doing that. I mean, and I've noticed that Roadhog will never let go of anything. He will never forgive, never let go, never back up, which blows my mind because all of us make mistakes and we all have to frequently back up and say, hey, wait a minute, I was wrong about that. So I was wrong to go after Ren for that. The two of them really need to iron it out without us getting involved and saying, this is this, this is this. You need to pick a side, pick a side, pick a side. I'm not picking a side. There are things I like about both men. At the same time, there are things I don't like about both men. And I just can't listen to Roadhog with the yelling and the words. I just cannot. I suppose I'm just too old now and I belong in a time like that in Pride and Prejudice, not in our modern time where people are yelling and calling each other filthy names and all that. I agree. There are times when I just ditch now because I don't have the emotional strength. That's one thing I will say about my asthma that's a good thing in the middle of a bad thing. When it gets as bad as it is right now, and it's pretty damn bad, I'm going to sit in my rocking chair the rest of the day. Does that tell you something? When it gets that damn bad, I only have this tiny, tiny, tiny amount of energy, and I can't waste it on this kind of nonsense at all. I can't. Yes, Noel. People keep saying we support Roadhog because he apologized. He apologized to Az directly with terrible things. Sheila, I wonder about that too. I haven't seen any evidence that there was a real apology and there whatever. I don't think that when you go after people for having struggles, I've said this before, you cannot really go after people for having mental health struggles, for having substance abuse struggles. Even though I got to say, Miss Ashy Cat tempted to go after her when she was nodding out on streams, but that really is counterproductive. You can't go after people for their bodies, for their illnesses, for how fat or how skinny they are. You just can't do that. You just can't. If you do those things, you reveal you kind of have a tiny mindset that's unable to get past those things. Yeah, I have to. I have to. I only have a teeny amount of energy, and I'm not going to waste it on foolishness. Yeah, so that's basically where I am with this. I painted yesterday, which was a stupid mistake. It was fine to do watercolors because these smells are not bothersome. But I also veered into oil painting last night. And while I love it with every fiber of my being, I'm going to have to give up oil painting. I'm going to have to transition just to watercolor, which is something I know nothing about. So that's one thing with me. My world is getting smaller. Hey, Megan, it's getting smaller. I'm not going to waste it on their fight. I'm going to say, I'm sorry, Ren, for what I said because I didn't know all the circumstances. And as I've said before, I kind of like Ren. He does have a good heart. He does stray into some weird places and start fighting with people. But there's a guy in there. There's a guy in there that I like a lot. Now, I haven't had the chance to get to know Roadhog the same way, so I don't have that same kind of feeling for him. But they need to fight with each other and work it out. You may have have an emotional hangover today with all the heated streams last night. Wow. Were there a lot of heated streams? Who was saying all this stuff last night? Sheila, I've had trouble with it. The first time I ever fooled with watercolors, I was in, I don't know, 10th or 11th grade. And my art teacher did a thing on watercolors. He did a segment, and then we were going to all have to paint with watercolors. That was my first and last time for many, many years touching watercolors because my art teacher told me, and remember, I had private art lessons at the time I was 12. He reached out to me and said, hey, this is one of the worst watercolors I've ever seen. You tried to apply oil paint technique to doing watercolor. It's a totally different medium. We talked about this, and I was completely put off by that point of doing watercolors. I didn't touch it again until I'm like 61 now. This happened when I was like 15 or 16. And so I didn't touch it again for many years. And that's one thing I wanted to say about words. I said words the other night. You can really, especially if someone's young and impressionable, your words can really impact them in a negative way, whether you want it or not. Oh, so there we are. It's been an exhausting week with all of this, with the crazy attack from all those idiots on, well, I'm not going to say idiots. I shouldn't call them idiots. People I don't understand on Parler that decided they were going to come shut people down on Twitter and on YouTube. Got in Ren's stream and accused him of child abuse. And he said he misspoke and deleted his stream. I heard about that. That's not really good. You can't really accuse people of criminal behavior. I mean, even I hate to even speak her name because like an evil goblin, she may appear. So without a box of Kleenex, even her, people should not go real life and reach out to CPS and try to get her investigated because we don't know what's going on in that household. Could be she's taking good care of that child. It could be she's neglecting him, but we're not in her real life. So we really can't make any kind of value judgment and be calling the authorities on them. I heard that various people, I heard that AZ had done that. I don't know how true that is, but that's the thing that Roadhog was saying. My art teacher in high school took a red felt pen to my drawing. It affected me for a long time. Barbara, I am so sorry. Sometimes I think that these art teachers in schools are extremely frustrated artists. I told the tale about the time that I had a close friend for quite a while that was an artist, a working artist, and she shamed me and had me convinced that I had done wrong by getting married, that I should have stayed true to my art and stayed in my studio apartment and just continued on the arts and not got married. She talked all the time about how women who are artists betray their art when they get married instead of just living in a sub-poverty level doing art. So that's one of those things I finally had to realize that what was going on. She was actually pretty jealous that she wasn't married. She was in her 40s and she wasn't married. She was very bitter about teaching art. She was very bitter about doing art. She loved her art, but she seemed to think she should make a living tremendously from it. I'm a good art teacher. A good heart supporting one's creativity with that. Ginger, they should. But the sad thing is a lot of them aren't. I taught art for a very short period of time to the homeschool community, and it was a real interesting experience. And it was hard not to crush the spirits of some of the kids. I had one kid that he would show up and just destroy the equipment, destroy everything. So I finally sat him in the corner one day and said, you can sit there until you can rejoin the class and use the art materials correctly. But I'm not going to let you sit there and destroy all of our supplies. And it was not good. And that was one of the better ones. They should be. They should be. And I knocked heads with the parents because I wanted to do a kinetic art lesson for the younger kids. And when I said bring old clothes so you can roll in paint and rub yourself on canvases and paper, it went over about as well as a lead balloon. So my hat is off to art teachers, but at the same time, you got to be careful what you're saying to the kids to encourage your creativity. Oh, I shoved art to the side when I got married. Now I do art as much as I can so I don't have to deal with said husband. Yeah, I hear that too. Go on, play in the rain, go to the doctor. I'm about, I'm almost at that point too. If I have a day like this tomorrow, I will be going to the doctor. My husband was exposed to COVID. He has no COVID symptoms. I don't think I have COVID because I can still smell and taste just dandy. And I don't have all of the symptoms anyway, but I think it's just asthma. So on that note, I'm probably going to go too. I said this is going to be a short stream because I can't talk. I can't think anything else. But I just wanted to come on here and say, let's not get drug in the middle of this. Stand up for the right for them to say what they want. Don't get involved in the fighting. Just let them iron it out. And I started getting drugged in the fighting because everybody kept PMing me and say, you got to say something about this. And I have said something before about Roadhog's mouth and the things he says, because it does bother me. So I don't go anymore to his streams. I just won't because I know it's not him, it's me. I will react. So I don't. You guys have a wonderful day. Remember, don't get pulled into any creator drama. And maybe I'll be back tomorrow. I don't know. Just depends on how I'm feeling. If I'm feeling like this tomorrow, I'm going off to the doctor. Even though I know there's not a damn thing they can do but give me Formoterol at this point. Okay. Have a great day.